All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Dr. Fred Didomenico here to tell us how to have faith in our life in the most uncertain, beat down, challenging parts of our life. Dr. Fred, my uncle,
Yeah.
the goat.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I've always admired about you through all parts of my life is that no matter what's been going on, for me, especially, or for you in different times that you've described in your history, where things have just been not going exactly as we wanted. And
Yeah.
what is so cool and why I feel like felt so drawn to you so young was that you never really judged me for the hard times that I was going through. And you always saw the best in me, no matter what choices I was making. And for yourself, listening to your stories through trials and tribulations and chiropractic, which I'm sure you'll go into, but in your personal life, I can think of 8 million stories where you have just really faced the music, and not always something that you caused or whatever, just life happening, and in incredible ways you've just been able to have such a strong view on yourself and the world around you and all the people that you serve, and in the times where people would give up and fail or just cower away, you're there so certain that life isn't going to go the bad direction. There's even even in the sense where the odds were stacked so much in the favor of like the whole world crashing down. You're just like, nope, this is not it's not how it's going. I know. Doesn't mean that you weren't scared or biting your fingernails in those times, but you did have unwavering faith spiritually. And I just want to share with the world your stories and how you make it through all that, because we can all apply that to ourselves. I mean, geez,
Yeah.
all those things are going to come up.
Well, I can honestly say I don't know how people make it without it because I would have died about 50 times by now. So, or given up, which is the same difference. But, as you know, we're raised Italian Catholic family, right? I didn't necessarily agree with the religion. I always say, we practice religion on Sundays, but we had a relationship during the week because we were just taught to pray for everything. You remember Nano, their grandmother, man, she just prayed all the time. So, which is probably why you and I, the biggest adrenaline junkies in the family, are still alive.
Yeah, totally,
But
totally.
what we did was we had a relationship with God. If there was a problem, you prayed. That's kind of the way we were conditioned. So, if you look at stories in faith and chiropractic, how did I get into chiropractic school? Well, I'm putting my way through San Diego State, bartending, partying my ass off, wondering what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. Pre-med student. I know I didn't want to be a medical doctor. So what happens? I get a pamphlet from chiropractic school. Chiropractors are stupid. I threw it away. Never been to chiropractic. I didn't even know the word chiropractic. Get another one. Chiropractors are dumb. Throw it away. Get a third one. And I'm like, okay, anytime I get three signs and I'm praying for something, God told me I'm going to be a chiropractor. And that's what I said on my interviews, on my interview in the chiropractic school. I have no idea what chiropractic is, but God told me I'm going to do something. I'm supposed to be a chiropractor and I'm going to do something great. Talk
Yeah,
about faith.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that was the first faith move, right?
yeah.
Was being a chiropractor. And then the day I graduated, I
And
didn't
where
have
did you
any money.
I
Yeah.
want to know, you said something important where you said, "Hey, when I'm praying for something and God puts it in front of me 3 times, I am loyal to that." But where did you come up with that? How did that become your standard?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. Three just maybe because if I didn't listen on the third time, I would strike out. Probably three strikes and you're out. Maybe that would I better hit I need a home run right now. I'm down two strikes. I mean, that's all I can come up with right now.
Yeah, yeah,
So then obviously, man, I just, take out a shitload of student loans. You basically don't have any money. And I got to be a chiropractor now. So it's like, shit, I need to build practice. But what I had was a principle, and what I had was a spiritual soul purpose. Like, I knew I was created to come in here and be a chiropractor. I just, and so during school, which, it's not, I don't know what the big deal is, but LACC was like every other school. Well, you can set up or you can't adjust. Yeah, that's going to work. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what do you think? We're stupid? Well,
Yeah.
apparently, I'm holding back. A lot of people paid attention to that, we'll just say,
Yeah.
and we're like, hell no, man. I started getting tutoring right from the first semester. So,
Yeah.
halfway through school, I already had confidence in my hands. So, and then I just needed the message. Well, I had to figure that out. But we were relentless. I went to DE 2 months out of school and heard the principal. And then in the middle of 2,000 people, I heard the principal and I said out loud, this was made for humanity. So I never tried. Huh?
I was just going to ask you, so this DE was the first time that you felt like the principal landed for you?
Well, I studied AK in school, and AK, you have all these points or whatever. But when someone had an organ problem or any problem, they associated a segment with that problem. Like if somebody had liver problems, okay, go to the T5, mid-thoracics, right?
Yeah.
And so I learned there was a nerve to organs, but I didn't get cord. And, so I understood energy at that point. So I got the principle to a point. But then when I heard the pure principle,
Who's told you? Do you remember who it was?
oh, no, I don't remember who was speaking, but everybody's, everybody on stage is like 1,500, 2,000 a week, Jim Sigerfoos, Jimmy Gregg, blah, 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 blah. You're listening to people that are 1,500 a week, man. That's a whole nother spiritual level, not to mention Sid and whatever. So I remember like it was yesterday in the middle of a crowd, I said out loud, this is a message for humanity. And, so I went back all fired up and, I mean, they dogged on medicine so hard. I didn't think about creating the enemy, but once I got the principle, why would you take drugs? I mean, I grew up with an RN mother. I knew this was a truth to healing. So why would you do anything else?
Yeah.
It's a simple question. Why would you do anything else? Like think about the simplicity of that, but that's why I would talk to people. I had no idea how to communicate. I had to figure it out. But what I did have was a shitload of passion, enough to engage people. So maybe they didn't want to vaccinate their kids anymore and bring your kids in. I mean, we were insistent.
Yeah.
Because why would you raise your kids in a pediatrician's office? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
So we're able to build a big practice. I mean, as an independent contractor, there was 3 of us. Me and my buddy John started. And then, we were at $250 a week in another office with a shitty contract. And then Billy DeMoss, who was struggling in his white coat and stethoscope, said, hey, come on over to our office. So you can imagine, Billy was 88 a week. There was another guy that was under 100, and the owner was maybe at 120 a week. So what's that? Maybe 250 a week.
Yeah.
So on Friday, that day, maybe they saw 40, 50, 60 people. And then on Monday, you're a 500 a week bigger. So I remember the 3 of them. I remember Billy in his white coat, the owner, and the other guy. They're sitting up front, just going like this, and they're just in disbelief watching these people go back because we didn't even own a clinic.
Yeah.
We were just independent contractors. You just added 500 people that week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like.
That's funny.
They just sat there with their mouth open, going like this, and we're having a great time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So then we drug Billy to DE, and then the 3 of us each went to $350 a week as independent contractors. So $350, that's 1,050 plus you add maybe another 200. So that's 1,300 people a week
Yeah.
in a little clinic. So, we got all fired up about nothing. And then we all, we all made money, obviously, and then all went out on our own.
Yeah.
So then, and then so I go to I end up getting married to my first wife, which you knew, Sonia, and we moved to North Carolina. So we opened up a clinic, and then our marriage, the clinic was great. Went to, $550 a week in 6 months from knowing nothing, just our ops manager and the commercial real estate person that found the spot. And
Yeah.
that was my thing, man. I mean, I already knew how to build practice. I went to the SWAT meet all the time, Orange County SWAT meet. John and I worked every Saturday and Sunday,
Yeah.
practically. And we built practice. So anyway, so I already knew how to build one. I don't know how good I was at communicating, but we went 500 a week in 6 months.
Crazy.
So, and then my wife and I didn't get along very well. So I went from nothing to 500 a week. And then I moved, gave her everything. Cause I'm like, I'm just taking my skis and my clothes and a little bit of money and going up to Seattle. And so 18 months later, I had nothing again and had to build a whole nother practice. But when we talk about faith, the day I opened, I spent all the money I took from that divorce, which was enough to open a clinic. And on the day I opened, I didn't have $5. I spent all my money
On traveling and
on
just
trying to
getting to do
open.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
traveling, supporting myself, paying bills, trying to open a clinic, doing a build out, blah, 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 blah. But I always ask myself the question whenever I'm facing what felt like death or total 100% failure. And I would always ask if you want to call it innate, I would say, okay, God, because as the opening days approaching, I've noticed my bank account is dwindling fast. I'm like, I'm going to run out of money. And so I remember doing all this stuff. Spent $20,000 on advertising, tried to, gave dinner talks, did this, and I was booking appointments for my opening day. And I had like 5 appointments. And I'm like, this is going to be a problem because that's not going to pay my bills.
Yeah.
And so about a month before we open, I'm like, okay, God. And I said to myself, I said, okay, God, if I'm supposed to go bankrupt, man, then I'm going bankrupt. But I don't want to say I should have done this, I should have done that.
Yeah.
I will not say to myself those words. Otherwise, I'll have regret. So what am I going to do? Everything in my willpower. So I started going door to door. And this in Seattle, man, like the neighborhood I was walking around had hills. And you're in suburbia, it's not like I went to an apartment building and, it's like you got to walk up a hill to the neighbor's house, through the front yard, knock on the door. It was work. So I would take out 100 invitations and I wouldn't come home until all 100 invitations were given out.
That's awesome.
And I would start at 4 o'clock and I'd be home by like 8.
Yeah.
So, and then, you go to a bunch of homes and you get whatever. It was funny because like I would try and go about dinner, like 4 or 5, so people are home from work. I didn't want to go in the middle of the day where people are gone or they're running errands.
Yeah.
So usually like at least mom's home cooking dinner or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times wives would answer and they go, I'm so impressed that you're doing this that I'm going to tell my husband to do this. I'm like, yeah, that's going to go over really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So I promoted my grand opening day and I booked people for appointments. And so you'd get, they'd say no, or, they would shake your hand or do whatever. And then after about 10 no's and you're really starting to burn out, then I would get one. And I would just go, God, my tolerance. When I'm at the end, because if I could get that one, and every time I got one, I would say I can do 10 more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I hope I get one the next 10 because I don't know what 11's going to be like. But I know if I get one by 10, I can do 10 more.
Yeah.
That's like that. That's like the movie Hacksaw Ridge, right? Help me get one more, God, one
Yeah,
more, and he ends up getting like 40 soldiers, right? If you saw that
yeah,
movie,
yeah, yeah,
so that was it. I would just go 10 at a time, and I would just try and get one.
yeah,
Now there's people that could be listening. Well, why don't you try and get two? Well, I tried. I tried to get 9. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You try to
I
get
wanted 10
100%.
out of
Yeah,
10.
one is
Yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But if I got one, I could do 10 more.
Yeah, totally. That's funny. I gotta
Yeah.
say, I had
So
like,
anyway, on our opening day, going door to door got me 27 new patients that day. And
okay,
5 came from referrals. So we had 32 new patients. I processed them that day. And I mean, I was working fast out of 2 exam rooms. You got 32, pre-consult, consult, exam.
yeah,
And my buddy John was helping me out in the x-ray room. I mean, he came out of the x-ray room after like 5 hours and his pupils were about as big as baseballs because there wasn't digital x-ray back then.
yeah, yeah,
He
totally.
comes out of the development room, I like the light.
Yeah, the lights. Yeah, yeah, that's funny.
But now the thing was that was before digital billing. So you had to wait at least 6 weeks. Like you could bill insurance, you could collect copays, but back then insurance was good. There wasn't a shitload of prepays beyond insurance. I mean, I got some. So anyway, not I went into credit card debt $60,000 in 3 months. I'm just like $20,000, whatever, $18,000 a month overhead.
Yeah,
So I was $60,000 in debt on credit cards, and I had it all paid off in 6. I went 60,000 in debt in 90 days, and it was all paid off in 180 days
nice.
because I knew how to build a practice.
Yeah,
But I don't know what I ate that night because I didn't have any money. I found
yeah.
food somewhere. I don't know what happened.
I feel like you've told this story.
Oh, I've
You've
told
told,
you before. Yeah, you.
yeah, yeah. No, no, I know, but you told the story of what you ate on your box with a fork. Is that the same
Oh no,
box?
that's good. No, no, no. Yeah, no, that's because I got divorced. And we had all this stuff, man. I had waterfront property, I had a house, we had jet skis, we had all the stuff. But we had a shitty marriage.
Yeah.
And so just as a metaphor, plus I didn't have a ton of money, I had a couch, a TV, a bed, and a stereo speaker box that I brought my stereo with. I had a stereo. So my stereo speaker box was the coffee table. I had 1 fork, 1 spoon, and 1 knife.
Yeah.
So you see, eat my food, and I would stick the fork in the speaker box. So
Yeah.
I mean, I would wash it, and then I would stick it in there because it was like a metaphor.
Yeah.
I don't need anything, man. I have peace.
Yeah.
And then I got a girlfriend, and she would come over, and we'd have to share forks. And then one day she goes, "Can we just get another fork?" And I started laughing. And my first reaction was, "No, you don't understand what this represents."
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, fine,
That's
I'll buy some silverware.
yeah. Yeah. I know. $10 or $5 for more.
Yeah, I know. You understand?
Yeah, you understand.
All she asked for was another fork.
I know that's funny.
So
Nice. So okay, what did it feel like? I mean, you had to collect some cash, right? I'm sure just to stay
yeah, I mean, I
afloat
was
during
able
that
to pay
first
rent,
point.
feeding myself, but not enough to pay the whole overhead.
Yeah.
I think my overhead was 20,000 a month.
Yeah.
So I just remember being 60,000 in debt. But that doesn't include my whole personal life. I mean, you got car insurance and car payments and,
Yeah.
rent and yada, la, la, la. Like I made enough probably to pay for my personal life and maybe a plane ticket here or there, but not enough to pay a $20,000 a month overhead. So I think I was charging my overhead and using my cash for personal.
Yeah. Yeah. But you knew the practice was growing. I mean, what
Well,
do you
we
remember what
broke.
your practice was at after 6 months?
It took me 8 months to get to 500 a week. Like that was my goal. My goal was I set a goal. I don't have a practice till I'm 100 a day. So I'd be obsessed till 100 a day. And then I remember the day I hit 100 a day.
Yeah.
And I just took a breath. Okay, now I'm going to build my practice.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't consider anything 100 a day wasn't a practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, that was I'm fighting for survival.
Yeah. It was fascinating because doing these podcasts, because there's a trend, and all these stories I've been hearing about, people setting their goals, and the consistent trend of people who are wildly successful is that they go door to door. Like, there's been a few people on the podcast, and they're knocking on doors like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing," or uh Josiah Fitzsimmons, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. With Lucro, he was talking about, doing the screenings. He'd do posture screens for people, and he opened with 400 on his first day because he spent 4 months doing that. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's just such a. I feel like if you just went door to door, there's no way you can't build a practice. This is just the story that's associated, that I'm recognizing is associated with people who are just starting out massively.
Well, one, they have a shitload of purpose, and two, they got a shitload of fear. But what they do is they put their purpose bigger than their fear.
Yeah.
And they didn't succumb to fear, they faced it.
Yeah.
And purpose was bigger.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, that's just it, man. Everybody has fear. The people that are successful have more courage than fear.
Yeah.
Or they're really freaking scared, so they develop courage.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is they don't succumb to fear.
Right. Right.
Oh, I was scared plenty of times.
Yeah.
Well, then the next one in that office in Bellevue, I adjusted a woman's right atlas, man, and she fell over, fell out of the chair, and had a stroke. And so it was her 54th adjustment. And she was a PI case, and she dissected the vertebral artery, probably in the whiplash. And so I was being sued for $2.5 million, and my insurance only covered $1 million. So that was a problem. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I remember sitting in court looking at 12 people that were going to decide my fate. And once again, I said, God, if I'm supposed to be bankrupt, I'm going to have to declare bankruptcy at the time, and if I'm supposed to do that, then I accept it. Am I supposed to be bankrupt? And then I listened to myself and I said, no. The answer was no. I'm like, all right, well, then I guess I got to go through this trial.
Yeah.
So I probably had sweat rings every day down to my waist. Good thing I had a suit on because nobody could see it. And I kept looking at these people thinking, these people are going to determine my life. Like, this could be a problem.
Yeah.
But I went through it and we won the case. I did not perform any malpractice. And, her attorneys, we thought they had a slam dunk case. We got $5,500 for her PI case. So we won.
Yeah.
That was faith.
How did you quiet your mind enough to listen to yourself? And when you asked yourself, is this my fate? What did you have practices before, or you just in that moment you're like, okay, I need to understand the answer, and you listened? What happened?
Well, the first answer that comes to mind, when you've done enough life-threatening things, then your focus is pretty, when your skis are hanging over the edge and there's, a nice drop and you're dropping into trees and, going 150 miles an hour in a motorcycle or being on a skateboard in swim trunks and a tank top and you're flying down, and you're drunk off your ass, then there's enough things that give you present time consciousness.
Yeah.
I think I don't know, and a lot of faith. I'm just like, am I I think my heart and spirit just wanted an answer. And
Yeah.
you're not going to be, am I going to go back to, oh my God, eat it? I'm like, hey, look, I really want to know, man. You pray for wisdom. Is this going to happen? And then you just wait. And you don't have to wait very long. It's like a gentle whisper.
Moment of silence. Yeah.
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 And they said no. And I just believed it. Why would God lie to me? Why would my spirit lie to me? That these are all belief systems. So then later in the same clinic, I had a martial arts injury, doing focus, boom, 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 when you're supposed to duck under the hook, but I didn't
Yeah.
duck and it laid my head over this way. And I dissected my left vertebral artery, but I didn't know it. All I knew was, oh my God, the sharp. I feel like somebody was burning my neck right here.
Huh.
And then I recovered from blah, blah, blah. And 2 weeks later, I'm doing a cervical traction and I can't talk. Trying to read my goals and I can't talk. Right. So I'm like, shit, am I having a stroke? I try and talk and I can't. And I'm like, I think I'm having a stroke. So I didn't, all the neurological signs, dizziness, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, 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 none of that. But I can't talk. And then I said, same moment, I said, God, am I going to die? And then I was quiet. I think it's in those moments where you're at a fork in the road and the next step can determine the rest of your life or the next second. Then you come into presence.
Yeah.
And the answer I got was no. And so then, the story I've told you a million times, right? I said, well, and I'm thinking, well, I don't have to talk. My staff can talk to my patients. That's not a big deal. Take me about a year, get my speech back. And I went, shit, I'm coaching this. And then I got pissed. I'm like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
So I
Because
couldn't talk.
the
Huh?
context is that you just to share with everybody, at this point you had you stopped practicing as a chiropractor
Yeah, I
and you
was
started
coaching.
coaching chiropractors. So that's why it was significant that you realized you couldn't talk anymore.
Yeah, I couldn't. I'm like, no, you can't do this. I couldn't talk, but in
Yeah.
my brain, I was yelling. I'm like, you can't do this. You have to, like in my mind, I'm like, you have to fix this.
To God.
Yeah. I'm like, you have to fix this.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. I yelled at him.
Yeah, you got your
I got
moments.
my point across and I was fine. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, can I talk? No. Well, I'm supposed to meet my wife at the gym. So I figure I'll get in my truck, and if I die on the way to the gym, who cares? I'll take my truck, figure out my dead body. I'm dead. What's the matter?
Yeah. In the middle of the
So,
stroke, by the way. In the middle of the
yeah,
stroke. No, no,
I'm stroking out. Well, that's what I figured. I might die while I'm driving. That would be a problem.
yeah.
But then it's everybody else's problem. It's not me. I'm dead.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah.
don't have a problem anymore.
Yeah, totally.
That's
You're
literally.
watching it, probably laughing by the way that you curled up. You probably slumped in a funny position. You're like, that's kind
I
of funny.
figure, well, if I feel myself dying, at least I'm going to pull over because I don't want to hit anybody. I had a big truck.
Yeah.
So anyway, by the time we get to the hospital, I get my wife to the gym. By the time we get there, I go to the intake nurse and I'm trying to talk and she's getting all irritated because she can't understand what I'm saying. All of a sudden, oh, she got it. She literally grabbed my hand, man, and yanked me almost like on the cartoons where, the person's flopping. I felt like that. Like I didn't even think my feet touched the ground. Took back and did a CT scan. Now the incident happened about 6:15 in the morning. And I'm sitting out, sitting in the hospital room, whatever, in the emergency room. And I look at the clock. I remember it was 11:40. So it was
Yeah.
5 hours later that I couldn't talk. And then my speech
'Cause-
started coming back.
Well, because you went to go to see Cindy at the gym
Yeah, I
in
went to the
between.
gym, pick up my wife, and then we're on the way home. And I'm in my gym clothes. Go, hey, basically, I'm trying to mutter to her, let's stop at home. I want to get changed. And she's looking at me like, what are you talking about? Well, I don't want to go in my gym clothes. Let me go just put some jeans on. So I figured I'm not dying. I mean, it'll come back. I already yelled at God. He's going to take it away eventually.
Yeah. You're in the middle of a stroke. Casually go for a drive, pick up your wife. What did you mumbled to her that you're having a
Well,
stroke?
I was trying to mumble that I'm having a stroke and she's getting all, I was trying to mumble to the front desk person, I need to get my wife. She couldn't understand. So I just left. Went and got my wife. Cindy couldn't understand. Then she realized it. She's panicking, running around the gym. I had to grab her, take me to the hospital. So on the way to the hospital, I'm like, well, let me just go get changed real quick.
You're funny.
So, well, I already yelled at God. I already knew what he was going to do.
That's the faith. This is why he's on the podcast right now, ladies and gentlemen. This is why he's on the podcast right now.
Yeah. So anyway, so then I can talk, and the nurse comes in holding a file with her mouth open like this. She's literally staring into oblivion with her eyebrows up, eyes wide open. Her mouth was open, and
Yeah.
she's not saying anything. And she's just standing there. And I told her what I had to interrupt her. Like, what does it say? And she goes, I can't believe it. And I already knew because now I'm talking to her. And she
Yeah.
goes, you don't have any brain damage.
Right.
And I said, I know.
Yeah, because typically it takes what, like 20 minutes to start having brain damage?
7.
7. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
5 hours.
Yeah. 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 It's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a whole, jeez, man. I can go on and on and on and on.
Well, is this the same? Is this the same story you were having your affirmations that you said you were on your dental roll or something like that?
Oh
You're
no, then
doing
I
stretches.
came back because I didn't finish reading my goals that day because successful people, they're very disciplined. And then I started reading my goals, and all of a sudden, um, I hear this loud voice, and it says, "Just relax, you're already there." I'm like, "What? Like who's in the room?"
Yeah.
Just like this, just relax, you're already there. And then I got this vision. I wasn't in the room anymore. I got this vision. I'm walking around, kind of this yellow brick road, basically through heaven, through this field, and everything I ever want is falling in front of me. It's coming to me automatically. And then I realized I've been running over everybody trying to prove myself to myself because visionaries live in the future. People that are disciplined and goal oriented, we go through this and healed. Like those are all superpowers. But what happens? You're so focused on what you want to do and achieve that I wasn't present. I was missing the moments. And right there, I learned presence to just enjoy life. And it changed in that instant. So then another story of faith, you've heard all these stories. The wife I was married to at that time got cancer, right? And she's like, well, what would you do? Well, I wouldn't go to chemo, but I wouldn't do that. She got all pissed. Hey, you got to do whatever you got to do. So she did chemo radiation, didn't work. Well, okay, I'll try natural stuff. She was halfway through a 7-day detox and she's like, I don't want to do it anymore. Her son, her daughter, 11, 10-year-old son, her daughter was 19, who just had just had a baby. We're in the room, and she's like, "I'm done. I don't want to do it." And so I'm yelling at her, like, "What are you doing?" Blah blah blah. Because I mean, what a contradiction for somebody. I mean, I had adjusted people and seen cancer tumors heal, but she didn't want anything. And so I was basically, when I raised my voice, the wall shakes. So I was pretty much yelling. And all of a sudden, I always say God talks to you in a way that you can understand. I got punched in the face on the left side of my chin by someone who was not in front of me because I was a martial artist, right? So I literally felt the fist exactly right here on my chin, and my head turned all the way right. Like it went boom. And I stopped talking mid syllable. And I'm like, basically, what the fuck? And then a loud voice again said, why don't you just love her the way she is? And I laughed to myself and I said, I never thought of that. I never thought of loving her unconditionally. Like, how fucked up is that?
Yeah.
And so
Well,
she was,
I
huh?
mean, a part of this story that I think is significant or that you've shared another time is that you also had something that they found, right? And you were healing yourself at the same time, and you were going through.
Yeah, well, I got a blood test and my blood test looked just like hers. She was diagnosed stage 4 cancer, but I had some other issues. So I went through the whole detox program and I was fine. So,
That's
but
what
she
was
didn't want to
probably
go
so
through it.
aggravating for you at the time.
Yeah, well I found out afterwards. So I did that after.
Oh, oh,
But in the moment, 'cause, I didn't have any signs of health issues.
right.
So anyway, I just said, "Hey, I never thought of that." And I just looked at her. She was looking at me funny because I literally stopped yelling mid-syllable. And I said, "Okay." She goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "Okay, I'll love you to your last day." And there was so much healing, and I learned acceptance. I learned in that second that everybody's on their own journey with God, and you can influence them to a point, but just love people the way they are. Acceptance is a path to peace. And then I just became way more peaceful. But it really also strengthened the patient application system in Elite, meaning we have a certain protocol you got to go through. And if you don't go through it, well, we don't accept you as a patient because else not a priority.
Yeah.
So, that changed me. The stroke, well, there's a lot of things that changed me, but having that stroke and becoming present and then being accepting of everybody regardless and seeing people as they're just at their own level of consciousness and it's their journey between them and God. Now I'm going to do the best to influence them in a positive way, but ultimately it's their decision. And I'll accept it and I'll love them the way they are, but if we're not on the same path, we may not be traveling together.
Did you know? I mean, obviously she had stage 4 cancer. So, I mean, what was after the acceptance, was there a point where you just had faith that everything was going to work out? I mean, she had 2 kids, she's choosing to leave a family. I mean,
I wasn't even thinking about that, man, because you're just getting through the day. I was just spending the last days with my wife. I wasn't thinking about the future. I figured I'd make it. But here's another thing of faith, because once she was disabled and she was bedridden, at the time I was teaching Pettibon. I was starting coaching and I was teaching Pettibon. So when I would go to a seminar, I would get paid to teach and I would get a commission on the equipment sales. So that was half my income. So I knew my wife's bedridden. I can't travel because I'm not going to travel and have her die when I'm gone. I'm not going to do that. But I also can't pay my bills. So I just prayed to God and I said, okay, I'm just going to tithe 10% of everything and you're just going to have to do it. You have to do this. I can't do this. You have to do it. The world will not satisfy this.
yeah.
And every month, $8,000 extra showed out of nowhere. I got a almost $5,000 check from my mortgage company and said I overpaid my mortgage. I own homes for years. Never happened.
I never ever, yeah, you never gave him extra. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
I wasn't paying extra. I was just paying my mortgage. Oh, you overpaid your mortgage. Really? And I got a check in October. It's not even the
Yeah,
end of the year check,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Or
I had a buddy.
February or something like that.
Yeah, I had a buddy that I used to help him out, chiropractic. And he goes, I just sent you a $6,000 check. I want you to know, and you can't give it back because I have to pay for it to value what you're teaching me. He sent me $6,000. Pettibon's gave me $3,000 towards the funeral service, the life celebration service. I got I don't know. Oh, I got like $4,500 back from they said they overpaid my taxes. How often do you get that? And I called my accountant and they go, I have no idea why you got that check. You didn't overpay your taxes. So money just showed up, man. $8,000 a month. Just I met all my bills, did everything, but I knew I had to stay home. I'm not leaving my wife to die by herself. I'm not doing that. And so at that point, I just said, God, you got to take care of it. And I didn't worry about it. I tithed. And we made it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, not if you have faith, but you know.
So, I mean, there's more and more and more. I'm going through that right now. I made a deposit in the bank. I already told you, bitched about it for a week straight. So let's see. I made a deposit that's more than normal. So you're doing a security check and you shut down my bank account for 12 days.
Yeah,
I
this
called the
just
bank, still wasn't in there today.
yeah.
Well, let's see. No, I deposited on the 2nd. Today's the 13th. 11 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to investigate. A deposit.
Yeah.
I didn't ask to withdraw $30,000.
Yeah.
No, I made a deposit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So luckily, Molly's giving me borrow another $100, and I'm like on the phone. I have to eat.
Yeah.
Like a few days ago, I had $2 in my wallet. Why? 'Cause I'm living off cash, and I bought groceries. Well, I ate it all,
Yeah.
and then guess what? Then I have to buy gas.
Yeah. And your account's frozen.
Yeah,
But yeah, with thousands of dollars waiting to just like
and it wasn't even that much money. So then I call today and they go, well, we put it in on Thursday. Friday was holiday. Saturday takes 24 to 48 hours. So you have Friday's 24, today's 48, should be in your account tomorrow, and it's $2,000 more than what I deposited. I'm like, all right, I'm not asking any questions.
yeah, yeah. I was getting any questions.
So I said, shows up tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I didn't say, but wait, I only deposited this.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I just said, what was that amount again?
Yeah.
And he read it out, and I go, yep, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it is. Thank you very much. Are you sure it's going in tomorrow?
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
checking.
sure. That's funny. Hey, well, I like this story where you're talking about in Seattle where you chose to go to, was it a CBP conference because you had like a
Oh,
letter in
yeah,
the
that
mail?
one. Well, yeah, while I was starting Elite, you know, we basically had to start, well, not even starting Elite, long story. I bought Elite from my original partners, and then we changed techniques because started on Pettibon, went CBP. Anyway, long story short, we built Elite up, and then all this stuff happened. I took it over, bought it from my partner. Anyway, but we lost a shitload. He ended up going to federal prison on other charges. So everybody's like freaked out. I don't want to be part of Elite. And so I started with CVP. So I had to start all over again. And I remember going to CVP to sign up a client, and I had, the nice letters with the red writing on it with urgent all over it, because that was my mortgage. Like you better pay your mortgage or we're going to foreclose on your house.
Yeah.
And so I had to choose. I can either spend the money on my mortgage, cover my mortgage, or I can go to CBP and sign up a clinic and sign up a new client, which isn't guaranteed. I've guaranteed I can pay my mortgage and get out of foreclosure.
Yeah.
Or I could go to CBP and try and get a new client and not only come back and pay my mortgage, but have
But
extra money to pay my bills and keep going.
yeah.
100% of that happened a couple times. 100% of the time I chose to go to CBP.
Yeah. Well, that's
And I
why you
know
have
I
the
had
sign
I had to
behind
do
you.
something good. What's that?
That's why you have the sign behind you.
Yeah. Right.
Purpose. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I'm either going to be homeless or I'm going to sign up somebody.
Yeah.
So what did it do? It helps you master your skill, right? I can't be 80%.
Yeah.
And I did that a couple times. One time, I think it was may have been that time, or one time I made a deposit, but I didn't have enough. I had to pay some money on my credit card, but the payment didn't go through. And I had asked Shirlene Harrison if I could put my hotel room at CBP on her credit card because the money hadn't gone through. It was going through the next day.
Yeah.
So fortunately, she did.
Yeah.
And I
Thank-
signed up somebody and got the credit card paid off, and Shirlene didn't have to pay for my hotel room.
Nice. Well, that was sweet.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. I mean, shit. What else? I mean, there's a number of things. It's like that's life, man. And the problem is when you change direction. When your life is transitioning to something different, it's like I have to try not to burn everything else down. It's like when God's taking you a new direction, everything that represents where you were leaves. You know, bank account, I don't know, whatever, like you name it. So I was going through that now,
Yeah.
marriage, whole purpose is changing. So it's almost like it almost becomes humorous.
Yeah.
Lost my necklace. My car blew up almost for no reason. That's worthless. You know,
Yeah, it's everything. It's everything.
yeah, it's
You
like,
had the beautiful place that you had. They decided to sell the house.
living by the beach. Nope, can't be there anymore. No, walking to the beach every day. Nope, can't be there. House, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, okay, man, I know what my purpose is. I know how it's transitioning, and I focus on that. And I always know when I feel like the tide is out, there's always a big wave coming in. So all I have to do is when the tide is out, keep focusing on what's coming in because it's pretty easy to get stressed about what's coming with the tide being out.
Yeah.
It's easy to focus on the desert when you don't see the water.
Right.
But that's in the Bible, right? Where shit, I'm blanking on his name, the prophet I don't know, it says dig the ditches. And the skies are clear and they wake up in the morning and basically says you're not going to see the rain. He's told you're not going to see the rain, not going to see the clouds, not going to see the lightning. And so, but dig the ditches. And then in the morning, the ditches were full of water. And then the soldiers drank and the horses drank. And then they went into the desert and fought an army. Elijah was a prophet. Said he prayed. This is what God said. Dig the ditches. And so that's the whole thing. You got to dig the ditches. God will fill them with water. So I dug the ditch, but I didn't have any money on opening day. But I went door to door.
Right.
So I dug the ditch and then it was filled with water.
Yeah.
So, and that was elite, man. Dug the ditch. So now there's new ditches to dig.
Right. Right.
But
What's
basically,
your
that's your life, right? That's your whole life. You're always digging a new ditch.
I know you're preaching the quad. We're very similar on this aspect
Yeah.
of things.
And that's like, well, my back hurts. All right, let me use my form a little better when I'm digging.
Yeah,
I dug
yeah,
a lot of ditches. I need to make sure I keep curving my low back when I'm digging.
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah,
So that's life, man. I mean, life without faith, how do you make it? I mean, all those things, like everybody's got a story. They're life changing, but God's preparing you for the next level. And
right.
every time it's like, you have to rely on me. That's always a message. Well, give it to me. Rely on me. Stop doing shit on your own. You can't do it. So here's this situation that you can't help. So now you're going to rely on me. Now, I'm not saying that he gave me that God gave me those conditions, but we live in a world where shit happens,
Yeah,
and God 100% will use them.
to get you to the next level.
Well, that's how you get to the next level. But if you don't have faith and you try and do it yourself, it's literal insanity.
Yeah,
I guess I just was unwilling to be insane.
yeah. I feel like this message is very much what is happening for me right now. Like, going through business school, going through chiropractic school, running a business, trying to do 8 million things all the time. And this was the first day of school after summer break. And it was just, I decided that school's got to be important. It took me 4 quarters. It took me a whole year on the sun to finally be like, all right, I should probably, I should probably give this 100% effort, Not to
Yeah,
say
but
that
then
I
you
didn't
will, and
want
then you're going to realize school isn't really that important.
to. Yeah.
But you do need to be focused on school, but you're still going to realize not that important.
Well, what's important about it is more the structure of the day. Like how to manage a schedule for myself. How to manage um like I don't have a choice other than to choose not to be a chiropractor, which is not my choice. So if I choose to be a chiropractor, then I must schedule my day well enough to be able to create more time to like do things like this podcast. For me right now, this podcast is the most important thing because I'm able to meet all these incredible doctors all over the world, really, and show chiropractors and students and the public what's possible with healing and to unite our profession, So it's selfishly, I would say that this is for me just to learn also what's possible and to break limiting beliefs that I may have created within this my own experience of chiropractic and just really figure out what is it that I'm wanting to create? What kind of an impact do I have? And I'm also in debt too because it's expensive to learn the things that I'm learning.
Yeah, it
And
is.
so, you know, I feel as if what you're saying, hey, trust in me, God's saying that to me, where right now I'm like, wow, I believe the point is to pay attention in school, make connections, be able to learn how to run my life, create time, um, you know, adjust people, learn from some of the best, and start to um, just trust that God will handle the money part, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, shoot, I got to rock and roll, man. My phone's been ringing off the hook while this has been going on. So,
All right.
yeah, you've heard all those stories before. Hopefully, somebody will gain from those in some way.
Oh, they will. There's people, they all watch the podcast, so
Yeah, that's
they'll,
cool.
they'll gain from it. So thank you so much
Yeah,
for,
my
well,
pleasure, man.
coming out. I love you.
I love you too.
All right.
Peace.
Goodbye.